This is The Gorge. It's a podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves in overanalyzing a topic.
The Gorge is brought to you by Audacity. We finally got ourselves that sweet Audacity link.
Audible.
I'm tired, y'all. It's cool. Did I say Audacity for real?
Yes.
You for real said Audacity.
Unbelievably lame. We're not scrapping this. We're still doing this intro. I don't care how much this intro sucks. The Gorge is brought to you by Audible. Yeah, the audiobooks place. You can go to audibletrial.com/gorgecast.
Gorgecast.
Yes! We have 8 million different links, and one day I'll have all of them memorized. That's audibletrial.com/gorgecast to get a free audiobook of your choice. Thanks.
So, Sarah, what are we talking about this week?
This week we're joined by our good friend of the show, Saturn, fellow big gay nerd.
I'm here, which means we're talking about an 80-plus hour long RPG, correct?
No! Actually, this time, we're switching things up. We're not talking about, like, existential dread, although maybe a little bit. We're not talking about, like, war or anything traumatic like that.
But we're still talking about an 80-hour RPG.
No, we're talking about Baba Is You for the PC and the Nintendo Switch.
My contract was very...
I know. I'm sorry.
I mean, if you're...
I also didn't sort
still,
the brown M&Ms out.
You can edit this out. You still paying me $50,000? I'm still getting my fee, right?
Yeah.
And the jet.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this Bomba.
I mean,
La Bamba.
You said it's not existential dread, but it is a lot of existential confusion, I would say.
That is true. I did spend a significant portion of this game just kind of going like, what's going on? I'm very stupid. Yeah. Baba
Is You is a very good video game.
Yeah, this is actually a game that Saturn, all the way back in
March, I think.
March. Back in March was just like, you have to play this. And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm extremely stupid. Please take mercy on me.
I'm also extremely stupid, but something about Baba just clicked with me a little more readily.
I understand, because I don't know why. I was just, earlier in the month, I was like, hey Ben, do you want to play Baba Is You? I don't know why I want to do this one. So we decided to do it as a way to close out the year, because this is technically an indie week, and this game is made by one person, which is impressive, because...
Yeah.
Being one person playing this video game made my eyes cross, so I can't imagine making this video game.
I don't think there's ever been a puzzle game that left me more physically drained than Baba Is You. It might be because I played it in like 7-hour shifts, but
yeah, that'll do it actually.
That's a bad way to play the game, I think.
Also, like, I mean, like by the end of my sessions, I was like, what am I? What am everything?
What am Ben?
What am Ben?
Am I Baba?
Well, Baba is you. So you are
Baba
a strange bunny
Ben
creature.
And Key has Ben, but Ben is Door.
And Door is Kiki, and
Kiki is Unlock.
And Kiki is me. I know.
Text is float.
Mm-hmm. It's bad. So we are still talking about existential dread, as it turns out. Nobody knows who we are. Nobody knows our place in the universe. Are you Door? Are you Key? Are you Belt? Who knows?
Based on the title of the game, I have to assume our audience is Baba. Because Baba is you, dear listener.
Baba is all. I got that one at one point, and I was just like, oh, God.
We are all Baba on the inside.
And on the outside. And the walls are also Baba.
Before we get into the game, I kind of want to gauge like what everyone's sort of degree of experience is, I suppose. Like how far, like what, like did y'all finish it? Did you double finish it?
I did the required amount of levels to get the ending, and then I unlocked the bonus world.
Yeah, that's about how much I did. I got the ending, like the quote-unquote first ending, and I unlocked a bunch of stuff, which, as far as I know, is maybe a setup for a reel, ending to the extent that this game actually has a plot to end.
Right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I did like the required amount of things. And then kind of like poked around on YouTube and looked at others just out of curiosity. Listened to Mark Brown. He named it his most like innovative game of 2019 over at Game Maker's Toolkit, so I listened to him talk about it. He had an interview with the creator, which was cool. So yeah, I'm like deeply fascinated by this game. Like after just starting it, I'm like, this is interesting. And then I played it a little bit more and I was like, oh.
Yeah, at first you're like, okay, I see what the gimmick is here. And then it like does gimmicks of the gimmick.
You don't,
right.
You never like grasp like how limitless the mechanics are.
The time that when it did kind of click with me, and this is actually an interesting thing. Well, let me loop back to that in just a second. But when it kind of clicked with me, like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Is when you do Baba is all, and like the whole screen just fills with Baba, and it's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now I understand.
I guess this might. I mean, is there? Do we have any kind of spoiler?
Oh no,
I mean,
don't
not
really.
Okay,
It's a hard way to. It's a hard game to spoil.
The part where it super clicked for me is when I did a solution to a level that deleted the level from the game.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, oh, okay. That's what we're working with here now. All right.
Yeah. Also, when I noticed that completing levels in certain ways would just put elements of a puzzle on the overworld hub map that you could then arrange to then beat the hub map.
You can solve the hub map to get a thing.
I never did that, but I got like 2/3 of the way there.
But like to loop back around real quick, it was interesting. I was thinking about when I did Baba is all, I actually just started like laughing like uncontrollably because it's the absurdness of it. It's like if I had finished Untitled Goose Game, which because I wanted to do it on stream with the other Big Gay Nerds, but you know how schedules are. If I had finished Untitled Goose Game, we could have almost made this a double feature of Goose Game and Baba because both games have like this kind of like absurdist humor to it. After I don't know why Baba is funny to me, but there were parts.
Baba's very funny.
It's really funny. Okay, good. Because like Baba is a really funny video game just for the absurdity of it and being like, you can say like wall is you, and then you're just toddling around as a chunk of wall.
You are this whole like prison structure that's just kind of scooting around the map.
My favorite is, you might even remember because I posted a video of it in the Big Gay Nerds chat, or like around when I was recommending this game. But it was in the like sort of space and sky tile set, and there was a puzzle where part of the thing you had to solve was to make empty as Baba. And then every single empty square on the map became a Baba that you could solve.
Yes.
It was I think it was Baba's Empty, where it's like you only have one empty tile, and so every time you move, just a Baba is popping out of a hole like a rabbit.
Right.
Oh, that one too. Yeah, that one's a motherfucker.
Anytime it just starts like the screen starts filling, or you're like running around as a key. I don't know. I was just laughing, and it's like the two funniest games I've played this year are not necessarily like. I guess Goose Game would classify itself as a comedy game, but it's also like a puzzle as well, like a weird type of puzzling game.
It's a slapstick puzzle. The objective is the puzzle is to do slapstick to innocent people
in the best way possible. And so it's just weird. It was like, oh, these. And, like, video games have a hard time being funny. Because, like, a video game, like, really sets out to be funny. There is a very high possibility that it won't be funny.
When
it's all like, that cake is dishonest.
Right.
You know?
Most, like, funny games have to, of course, rely on writing. Because, like, 90% of comedy is timing. And when you're in control of a character, you take the timing out of the script's hands.
Right, and that's why, like, most funny, like, you know, like, Portal is, even with the cake is a lie being an overdone meme, a lot of Portal is still pretty fucking funny, Portal 2 is still funny. The Stanley Parable is still pretty funny.
Though this isn't a gorge about it,
That's
and
okay.
I don't know if you ever will get to it.
Someday.
Disco Elysium is a very funny video.
Oh, we're doing a disco. We're doing a disco episode for sure.
And I was gonna say, part of that is like it can afford to be because the entirety of that game is reading blocks of text.
Right, exactly.
So
yeah, we're absolutely doing an episode of disco.
Cool.
Because I mean, I have a lot to say about that one too. But yeah,
but it's like a tangent on that. It's like then you get these games like Goose and Bubba, where it's like they actually manage to be funny despite like having almost no like actual coherent blocks of text, and instead like conveying their comedy through your inputs,
which is way harder. And it's really, I'm sure other examples exist, but I have not personally encountered.
I think Breath of the Wild has some of it if you know how to look for it. But it's like, I think the big thing is that like generally humor in video games is something that is inflicted on you.
Right.
Right.
Like, the video game does humor to you.
Yeah.
Whereas in Baba and Goose, it's very much like your verb in the video game is making comedy.
Yeah, you are the one making funny things happen instead of just like having, like I said, like the Stanley Parable is a funny video game sometimes. But it's mostly like somebody is like saying jokes at you, and every now and then you are enacting humor by like going against the narrator, but that's still like there's still like a push and pull with you versus like recorded lines. So there's still like that element of somebody saying comedy at you, and in this case it's literally just like you do a thing, and now you're controlling a rock.
Yeah,
and I don't know why, but that's funny to me sometimes. It's just like, oh, I'm just scooting around. The pioneers used to ride these babies for miles.
The absurdity of setting things up so that you are now controlling two parallel rocks that are right next to each other, and they're just kind of gliding along the environment.
Right. Or when you're like controlling the entire level.
Also, the absurdity of, like, especially some of the later levels, where the game will just give you an impossible problem, and the solution isn't to, like, figure out how to rearrange the rules in such a way that you can win. Mm-hmm. It's to, like, even go as far as to exploit the way that the game itself allows you to control it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's one puzzle in the lava area where it's, like, the solution for it requires doing basically, like, a weird, almost seemingly unintended behavior of, like, putting a word on top of an object and then moving the object with the word.
Yes.
And then this word overriding that. And it's, like, a bunch of shit that isn't even, like starts to stretch beyond the core premise of the game into like, okay, you've learned how the word shit works, now figure out how to do it with your actual verbs, you know?
Right. And changing like one of the rules you change is that the object becomes a word, but not technically a word. Like rock is word, I think is one of them, so that the rock, like the actual,
can be used as a word.
Yeah. That's when you start getting, like, that's when your eyes start crossing.
There's a really good puzzle with that one. It's like a hedge maze.
Oh yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about.
And the idea is to find a way to scoot the key into the lock without the environment turning into keys, because every object is a word.
Wasn't there one hedge maze where the hedges turned into words, or am I?
No, because you play that level as the word is.
Yeah, okay,
and then
that's
so
it.
Whenever you get between two objects, it's either hedge is hedge, or wall is wall, or wall is hedge, or hedge is wall, and that can turn the whole level into that, and then you lose.
Right, okay. Oh, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think my favorite version of that is the one I mentioned earlier, where in trying to solve a puzzle, you can inadvertently create, like, level is empty or whatever, and it just, like, kicks you out of the level and removes it from the overworld map forever. Like, that is not there is a possible intended solution to that level where you can finish it.
Yeah.
Apparently. But the thing is, if you do it like that, you finish the level, it's just gone forever.
You just, yeah.
There is, I saw something on YouTube and I meant to watch it, but I didn't have time. There's something you can apparently set up to have just like an infinite loop in the game, and I think that's fascinating. It's just like, I don't know. it's such a simple idea of like changing changing basic rules and stuff like that, and then it goes completely bonkers. And it's based off a game jam. I think that's really cool, is that this is based off a game jam that this guy won. And it was like, again, kind of going back to something, you weren't on this episode, Saturn, but we did an episode where it was kind of like a lot had to do, several of the smaller games we played had to do with like programming. And this game kind of feels like that as well, like programming language gone insane kind of thing. Like if-then statements gone completely mad.
Yeah, because I think like the big twist of Baba is that it's like, it's a puzzle game about deconstructing a puzzle game that becomes a puzzle game about deconstructing itself.
Right.
When you're looking at a puzzle, like, and I love the way that like sometimes it very blatantly disregards your conventions. You get one level very early on where wall is stop is not there, and you don't realize that at first.
Right.
Yeah, you can just walk through like,
Oh,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
and
much
I think
like
that's true for the whole game too. Like I think with the exception of stuff like word is push being like an assumed one that's always there.
right.
Like for the most part, every single rule in the game is always like on screen.
Yeah.
And you can always tell whether or not you can change it, because the stuff that you can't change will be like put in like a corner or something. Where you can't
bricked
push
off
anything.
or something like that, where
Yeah,
it's not like
but then,
not
like, you'll just see
interactable.
one where it's like, well, I can't mess with these words now, but they are conspicuously in the middle of the level,
Right.
which means that maybe I can mess with them.
And then sometimes you find a solution that doesn't require messing with those words at all. I mean, sometimes it's like you can fall into this incredible trap of just like really overcomplicating things, and then you just kind of go like, oh, wait a second.
There are puzzles where like some of these words don't even do it, like aren't even necessary.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think
it's
like
genius red herrings like that too.
one of the most insane ones I remember was one where you're given a handful of is statements, and you don't need them to form words, you need them to bridge gaps.
Yeah.
Like you need them to like push a word across a barrier to another word.
Oh yeah, I remember that level. That level's great.
And it's like genius stuff like that where you kind of have to step back and understand that like you don't necessarily need to follow or use every piece of a puzzle. You can, if you can think cleverly enough outside of the box, then you can solve these puzzles in like really no time at all, and just like have it done. There's Baba Is You speedruns, of course, which I would love to watch one of those.
I
know.
That was brain breaking.
I would love to watch a Baba Is You speedrun. So,
unrelated sidebar, did you know they're fucking doing a Fire Emblem Three Houses speedrun at AGDQ this year?
Oh
what?
boy.
No,
it's
how?
going to be sub 2 hours.
How?
Somehow.
What? No, okay. Load times alone should make that not possible.
That's ridiculous. How? Like,
okay.
I have no idea.
Well.
Anyway, I just brought it up because I did that episode with y'all
No,
relatively recently.
No, it was
A couple months ago?
like 2 months ago.
yeah, it was
Recently
recent.
enough for me, considering I haven't been podcasting much lately.
It's fine. Well, AGTQ is just gonna rule, so I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's Baba speedruns, and I would love to watch them because I'm sure it's like, I felt like semi-clever while playing this game. Like I said, I'm pretty bad at puzzlers. And there were a few times where I just had to give in and just like be like, YouTube, please help me.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
the Baba Is You wiki is great because it's just like, here's a solution, idiot.
I would say I generally tried not to do that when I
Right.
could, but there were some where it was like the solution was so tantalizingly within my grip that like I just couldn't like
Walk away from it.
conceive of what I had
There's-
missed.
Right.
The ones that I had to cheat on came in two flavors for me. One, which is, I never in a million years would have ever put those words in that order. Like, never,
Right.
ever would that have occurred to me. Or, I know what they want me to do,
But I don't know how to do it.
I don't know the exact verbiage they're looking for. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
the crossword puzzle they want me to form.
For me, and I think that's actually a good metric for like the quality of a puzzle game is the ones you're forced to cheat on as like a casual player. For me, it was like a half and half of some of them were puzzles where it's like, I'm like one step away from the solution. I just need to know what exactly it is they wanted me to do because I have the principles down, but I haven't quite nailed the execution. The other one, which is like I think my one knock against the game and where I think it tends to be weakest, is choreography puzzles where things are moving at like a certain place and certain time, and like the solution to the puzzle is largely contingent on knowing exactly when and how to move a word so that it lines up with like the pacing of like a thing that's happening.
Yeah, when you get ones that
I
are...
think those tend to be very fiddly, where it's like there's like a one tick window where something is correct, and then otherwise it's just a lot of like waiting and second guessing.
Yeah, when you get puzzles that rely on a lot of is move, and guiding.
The is move stuff is like there were a couple of those puzzles I was able to do myself, but for the most part I just looked up guides for all of them because some of those are like absolutely fucking nuts.
Right. Some of the ones where you have to have like a word on top of a character, like on top of like Kiki and stuff like that. Some of those don't feel like clear enough, I guess.
I think there's some where you have to have words on top of other words.
Yeah, and it's when you get into like those weeds,
some of those puzzles work. A lot of them.
Yeah,
don't.
They're very, very obtuse, and like when you like for the most part they do a really good job of like, even though there are no rules, there are no hints, you can't like you can't there's not even like a rudimentary feature of like, here's your first move.
Yeah, like a latent style hint coin kind of thing.
Like you don't even get that, and so like a lot of these are like, how was I supposed to figure this out?
Right. And I'm sure and it's interesting though, because these games, especially a game like Baba, really more so than most puzzle games, because like a lot of puzzle games tend to have like only these days puzzle games have more than one solution, because like one solution kind of things are people can figure those out more easily. But like so like puzzle games these days can have 1 to 2 to 3 solutions, and this game just kind of goes off the rails. And it is interesting that it all kind of depends, I think, on how you think, because a puzzle that might be like difficult to me is easy to Saturn, or difficult to Ben. Like we all kind of think in different lines. And I actually think that's really interesting with the way that like the flexibility of the rules in Baba, when you start having like these little epiphanies that maybe never occurred to somebody else. You can look at a puzzle and go like, oh, that's easy. And then somebody else could stare at it for an hour and be like, I don't know what this game wants me to do. And I think that's also kind of like a testament to how good this game. I really like this game. It's a testament how good this game is.
This is a word that sucks. This is a phrase that sucks to say. Like, I hate the way it sounds coming out of my mouth. Okay. But to me, Baba Is You is kind of like a Dark Souls of puzzle games. Where, but not about difficulty, but it's more like, if you solve the puzzle, like, that's a correct way to do it. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether it's intended or good or honorable or not. Like, you did it.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Saturn, like, 12 game journalists just, like, lifted their heads up when you said that.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure I know one of them at least. But that's part of it, is that, like, because the other thing I like about it is that, so many of these puzzles have, like, very flexible solutions where it's, like, even if there's a certain set of things you have to do, it's generally not, like, rigid to do these steps in this way, as long as you figure out, like, the broad strokes of it. Yeah. But the other thing is that there's occasions where you'll feel like, haha, I've outsmarted this puzzle, and the puzzle's like, oh, really? You thought you outsmarted me by doing this? Well, check this shit out.
Oh,
good job, idiot.
It's the game's like, oh, didn't you hear? Baba is not tree. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, or it's just... Or it's just like you think like, haha, I stumbled on the solution, and then it's waiting there like Jonathan Joestar, like, and the next thing you're going to do is...
And then you're gonna do it wrong.
The next words out of your mouth are Baba is tree. Baba is tree. What?
there are like you mentioned like the idea of not having to like do it a specific like block by block way is why the is move puzzles are always so frustrating when they depend on like put the character.
Yeah, because those you have to choreograph perfectly, and otherwise it's like unsolvable. I think like. I love Baba. To me, categorically, like all the is move puzzles are bad.
The ones like the feeling I get a lot playing these things is like dumping all your Legos onto the floor and like trying to like put them together in the right way and like trying to clear your workspace so you can like form the sentences you need to is a puzzle in of itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, trying to just get, like, everything organized in a way that feels like you can comprehend. Because sometimes you start up a puzzle and it's just there's a lot of information being thrown at you. A huge part of playing this game is just spending several minutes after the puzzle boots up to go, like, what does this game want from me? Like,
that's one of the game's better features too.
Yeah.
So there's a pause menu thing where it's just like, hey, here's all the rules that are in play right now.
Right.
And then that list gets 2 columns long, and you're like, I can't even read these words anymore. Baba is not Kiki. Kiki has door. Door is key. I
was going to get drunk.
I don't know what a video game is anymore. And then you get these things where you're like, I figured it out. I need to put... Where did that is go? Oh, the is against the wall.
Yeah.
I pushed it against the wall in my zeal.
Say, there's also some really great puzzles where it's like, oh, the thing you have to do here is obvious. The puzzle is like, okay, I don't have enough room to move these words around in the way I need them to.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you have to figure out a way to bullshit like the combinations of words you're trying to achieve with a limited amount of space.
Right.
You just form these octopi out of a single is.
Yeah. Or it's like, well, I need this is phrase to be up near this other is phrase, but this one's in the way, and there's rocks on both sides, so I don't have enough room to, like, maneuver.
And I also have to, like, maneuver, like, because you're controlling, 2 Babas, or you and Kiki, or you and a rock. And it's like, you've got to control all of this at the same time and make those pieces slot together with a limited amount of space, and it's just like... Okay, game. I'm trying to keep up, I swear.
I think what I like about Baba is that despite being a puzzle game with a very, like, clear, direct, like, singular premise, it's, like, multiple different puzzle, like, philosophies kind of wedged into a single framework. So if one kind of puzzle isn't clicking with you, there are probably 5 others that will.
Well, there's 216?
I was...
219?
I was surprised by the end of the game, like, how many petal, like, flowers I had, like, stored up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I did 100 levels.
No, some of them go so quickly. I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing, and it's like, if I didn't have to play this for, like, a podcast, I got it on Switch, and if I didn't have to play this for, like, a podcast where I have like a limited amount of time and also Christmas is happening around me, then like it would just be where you play like 2 or 3 puzzles a day and then just kind of like leave it be unless you get sucked in, which can easily happen as well. Yeah, because I know you played like 8 hours of Baba one day and just like came up and was like, what happened?
The day I started it, I was like, oh, I'll play for a few hours. Then like I realized like, oh, it's like 10 o'clock.
You just kind of have like your time eaten away by just doing these charming little puzzles, and because the game kind of lends itself. It has good music. It has a really fun little art design.
The music
so
is phenomenal.
Readable. Yeah, I love just the whole look of the game, just in general. I think just like that little hand drawn style lends very.
It's got kind of that oh my god, what's that fucking cartoon show from Adult Swim with Dirk McGurk? The coach.
Home movies.
It has a kind of home movies quality
It does,
to it,
yeah.
like a little bit of a scribble vision thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like everything is handmade. It's a huge upgrade from what the original version looked like. If you ever look it up, it's like way more pixely. It does not work as well as the like hand-drawn look we got instead.
There's an option to turn off the scribble vision, and I don't know why you would, because it's so dark.
And it's not even like it's not even like a visual like hindrance. Like they're like 4 frames of animation, and they don't move like rapidly.
Yeah, it's actually super readable. Was a thing that I was really impressed with. Just like, you know, my job as a graphic designer. That's my 9 to 5. And like everything is really readable, and it's readable even apparently even if you're colorblind. I think Baba still works because like everything is really like all the tones and stuff. Like all you need to know is that like your little statement works because the is lights up. You know.
Well, there were even
that
black
works
and
no matter work.
Like there are levels that are deliberately black and white too.
Right.
So I mean, like
I think that's cool. I think it's just the general look and feel of the game is kind of contributes to being able to drown in it and just be like, I've just solved puzzles for 6 hours. What happened? But also, I feel like the ideal way to play it is actually to just like have it in your purse and play a couple levels a day and not binge it.
I feel like playing some Baba, and then you do like a level or two, and you're like, cool, and you put it away.
Then
for
you
tomorrow's
like,
lunch break.
Yeah, and then you dream about Baba. It's like the Tetris effect.
I straight up did have dreams where statements were like appearing in my like just the concept of the is statement was appearing in my mental imaging.
Oh no!
Like I don't know how to like verbalize it like to get like the idea across, but just like the plot synopsis of my dreams were summed up in Baba is you statements.
That's awesome.
I still really want that fan art of Baba is you as a Smash character / Smash Assist trophy to become real.
God. Yes.
I could
love
totally.
that.
God, I could totally see that working where it works like the Pac-Man ghost where Baba just kind of appears on the like overlay on the screen with a bunch of statements, and then Baba forms sentences that like affect the environment, like floor is lava or like air is poison.
Or bomb is drop, and then like a bomb drops from there.
That would be great. Good. Oh my god.
Baba for Smash. Yeah. I'm cool with
Baba
starting
is
that.
Win.
Baba is win. Baba can be in Smash. It's okay.
Baba is sand.
Nah, no. Then everybody goes insane. It's fine. But yeah, no.
Dead.
What?
I'm already dead.
You're already dead. It's cool. Don't worry about it. But yeah, no. This game is just like. Just the charm of it is really what says kind of what carries through being able to do 219 puzzles or however many there are in this game. Not that I did even close to that number, but you know, it's just so kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier today on the Twitter, because you know, whatever, as you do, that like. I feel like, again, this year has been so good for just these little, like, really smart indie games. It vibes a lot with last year's Obra Dinn. Did you play Obra Dinn?
Last couple of years have been really good for indies.
I know. Did you play Obra Dinn, Saturn?
I haven't got around to playing it yet, though.
Big recommend if you ever get around to it. It's similar.
I own it. That my only excuse is that I just haven't
started it.
Yet.
Yeah,
it's
literally what we were saying the last time. Is it's just once you start the video game, you're good. But you know,
I'm actually going to install it now while we do the podcast.
Oh, good.
So,
it's out of everything we've done on Indie Week. It's my favorite. Obra Dinn is my favorite.
Obra Dinn's a good game.
It's incredible.
As far as I know.
But like, yeah, like all these games are so like these so good for like. Intellectual creativity that you would never see like in other medium or even like in a non-indie environment.
Yeah. Like, and I mean, like, you know, it's not saying that AAA should even attempt to do this kind of thing, because it really only works in an indie environment where it's like two people making a video game about like, you know, statements.
You know, like when you say the gimmick is that you can form rules and try to make your own win condition.
Right. Although I would like to see the return of, like, actual puzzles in AAA games. Like, Zelda is not enough. I feel like Wind Waker is kind of... Not Wind Waker. Jesus. Breath of the Wild. Thank you. I'm so tired.
I tend to agree about Breath of the Wild's puzzles for one of them it has.
Yeah. That's like a whole other podcast. The short version is that just bring back dungeons. Just fucking bring back dungeons. I know shrines are cool, but a lot of those shrines are like eh. So just bring back dungeons and have like slightly less shrines. It's fine. But it, like,
I hate to disappoint you. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. I know.
Not for Breath of the Wild 2, anyway.
No, because they're super easy.
Practically identical video game.
I'm sure that game, they have just like an incredibly versatile tile set over at Nintendo that just lets them crank those babies out. Like, they probably have every single one of them made already.
Probably, yeah.
Probably leftovers from Breath of the Wild, if I had to guess. So, you know, but even then, it's like Zelda is really the only like game that's like a out in the world kind of third person adventure game that's doing like major puzzles. Like I know that there's puzzles in Dad of War, but they're pretty simple puzzles.
They're just like find the fucking like glowy thing.
Yeah,
hit for the most part.
Yeah, hit the fucking lever. There really aren't any actual... There's, like, navigational puzzles in Horizon Zero Dawn, which is kind of like the closest analog to Breath of the Wild that Sony has. But those aren't really puzzles either. They're more like navigate your way around, like, an extremely complicated and dangerous environment. It's not really the same thing.
And I get why a lot of these things have been focus tested the fuck
because
out
reviewers are dumb and don't have the time to do it.
Because reviewers are dumb, and everyone who isn't a reviewer is just going to look it up on YouTube, so what's the point?
Right.
But it's also, like, I don't know. What I appreciate about games like Baba is they're operating in this very kind of, like, anything-goes indie space, is just be willing to be like, you know what, fuck it, we're going to make a video game about this, and they just do it.
Yeah, you can just decide. I mean, this game took 2 years. I mean, that's the other thing is that this game took 2 years, which is, like, somehow both more than I expected and less than I expected, considering...
In AAA development, it's a lifetime. In indie games, it's a pretty quick turnaround.
Right.
When it's one person doing it 2 years, like, oh, that's... You worked a lot on this, then.
Right.
Yeah, you must have personally crunched without the obligation of a paymaster
right.
To put this game out in that amount of time.
And it's actually interesting if one of the things I heard in the Mark Brown video, and I looked it up, is that this game is play tested by like people who have made puzzle games before. Like
you gotta.
I remember,
like the people who made The Witness, like a lot of people who made that I think it's Jonathan Blow who made The Witness.
Yeah.
But a lot of people who contributed to The Witness, not Jonathan Blow himself, because, you know, he's kind of an asshole, is what I've always heard. But,
fuck Jonathan Blow. He sucks.
He's such an asshole. But other people who contributed to The Witness and designed puzzles for that actually did a lot of the testing and stuff for Baba Is You, which is, I guess, why it feels so, like, even though some of the, like, the Is Move puzzles do kind of suck, why, like, in general, Baba feels so, like, tightly designed and smartly put together, is that it's like you had a ton of really smart people just sitting around finding ways to break it.
And it's like...
Yeah, I was gonna say, in a game where the whole premise is, like, take this puzzle that we made and break the fundamental, like, verbs in it, you know, like, you need to have, like, a lot of rigorous playtesting to make sure that you are breaking those rules in a way that makes sense.
Like,
you know?
Have you ever tried to make a puzzle? It's hard. It
turns out.
really, really hard to make a puzzle.
Making puzzles where the puzzle is deconstructing the puzzle is perhaps exponentially.
I've tried to make a puzzle in a D&D campaign before, and that shit's hard to do, because it's like, well, I wanted to do it this way, but I need to make sure they can actually do it that way, and like, what rules do I need to enforce so that they don't do it another way?
Right.
And wonderful YouTube content creator Matthew Colville has had to make a plurality of videos about how to do puzzles in D&D because it's really hard to do them right, and if you fuck them up, everyone's going to hate them.
Nobody likes what I've been in a D&D game, not on Big Gay Nerds, just in general. I've been in a D&D game where there was a puzzle involved, and I mean, after a while, if you're not making your rolls, or if you're not really picking up on something that the DM wants you to pick up on, eventually people just get mad and go like, dude, can we please just skip this? Which is like sad to say, but you know.
And like that's just part of like, I don't usually, like when I GM stuff, I don't do a whole lot of like hard and fast puzzles because like, hey, so I heard you want to make a murder mystery. Okay, I hope you're ready to have like 5 different redundant versions of each essential piece of information, just so your players don't miss the things they need to complete the puzzle.
So what we're saying is that like puzzle designers, even in like a video game, especially in a video game whose basic premise, they're heroes. Yeah, they're absolutely heroes. Especially in a game like I said, where this one is like so flexible. Like I can't even. Some of these puzzles I couldn't even, like, conceptualize solving, you know? Like, you look at them and you go, nope, not today, and you leave and you go pick a different one.
You know, and you think about, like, what would have to go into making one. It's like, okay, well, you start off, okay, so Baba's you, flag is win. Okay, well, we can't just walk to the flag, so what do? We put a wall in front of it. So how do you get past the wall? All right, well, let's do, wall is stop, but you can move the stop. Okay, so how do you make that? What's the next layer to that? Okay,
and how do you make that interesting? Now do it 219 times,
but also
put in some bullshit.
Also, do it in a way that's not too obtuse that it's impossible. It's like
put in words that make you want to fucking die. Because they're too complicated.
The concepts are too hard. But somebody out there smarter than me will get them.
I won't shut up about this, but hey, let's make a level of words that if you solve the puzzle wrong, you just fucking delete the entire level.
It's like...
It's such a go fuck yourself, like, big dick move for a puzzle game. Just be like, you solved me wrong, bye.
Bye forever.
You get these situations where it's like you have this like spider web of words, this like crossword puzzle going, and you feel like the dad on Christmas morning who got up early trying to put the dollhouse together for their kid, but like the pieces don't fit together right. You just have this big frustrating mess, and you're like, I don't know what it wants from me. It's
like putting together IKEA. It's like putting together IKEA furniture, but instead of having an instruction booklet, you have a set of very vague pictograms pasted onto every individual piece about their relationship to other pieces.
It's that bit from The Simpsons where Homer's trying to put the grill together, and he's like, "Ah, yes, perfect. Why can't mine look like that?"
And then you have to also think of the fact that, like, this game is designed... Because, like, I think we've all basically asserted that we're dum-dums. We've kind of made peace with that. Mm-hmm. We're all dum-dums. This game has to be designed for dum-dums, but it also has to be designed for people who are, like, way, way smarter than me. And still be challenging. Or at least still present, like... If you're, like, real smart and you can just look at it and go, like, oh, there's the easy solution, then, like, the game has to also be like, but you want to do it the hard way, right? And there are people out there who look at it and go, yeah, I want to do it the hard way. And it's like, you gotta design for those people as well.
There are certain, like, some of the bonus, like, the dot levels that are just, like, variations of the numbered level, and you're like, oh, I feel so smart. I figured out how to do it with these words. And you get to the one where, like, one is missing, and you're like, what the fuck?
The one that fucked me up really bad is a level, I think this is one of the first levels in the bonus world, but it's where to solve the puzzle, you have to create a word out of the letter blocks that are on the screen, and then use that word to make an is statement.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
It's so fucked up.
That's like the most bullshit ever.
Like, I think it's like there's a bunch of letters on the screen, like from like irregular words, and you have to make them spell out heart and then like set it to like heart is win with the spelled out letters, and then
Yes.
a heart icon that's at the bottom of the map becomes a victory,
Right,
or
right.
something. Like it's fucking everything. Like every time, but if I can only say one thing about Baba Is You, because I don't know how much really there is left to say about it that we haven't said already.
Right.
But it's that even if you are someone who thinks that you've seen everything puzzle games has to offer, every single, like, I don't know, I want to say like every 5 to 10 puzzles in Baba, you're like, alright, I think I get what this game's about. I think I have a good grasp on everything this game's gonna throw at me.
No, you don't.
And Baba's used like, hey, check this shit out, motherfucker. You thought I was done?
No.
There have been levels. I remember one level in the space area where I won and I didn't know what I did.
Yes.
It was
Several of those.
It was one where a bunch of Babas spawned, and I was like walking, like trying to like navigate, like what do I do with all these Babas? And I was kind of like idly shifting back and forth, and then I beat the level, and I was like, oh, how did I get into the place?
I think I know which level you're talking about. The challenge of that one is that you have to perfectly choreograph that one because you can't like clip the other Babas. So if you move wrong, you will fuck yourself out of being able to solve the puzzle.
Yeah. And then you
It's
just kind of
great.
accidentally solve it, and you just go like, I mean, I'll take
Video
the
game.
win, but
Video game good.
video game real good. Video game real good, actually.
I as someone who like adored Layton games,
Yeah.
like this like scratches that exact itch of just like, here's a bunch of 10-minute puzzles, like just all in a row, just constantly. Here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one.
And fortunately, I mean, I'm not even done with all the puzzles in the game, so now that we don't have to, like, you know, talk about it on the podcast, I can, like, take my sweet time with it and just kind of putz and figure out, like, what I have to do left, which is nice.
I feel like Baba Is You could be a good party game.
Yeah.
I feel like
Oh,
you could get like
yeah.
a
I
group
could
of
see
people
that.
together and be like, all right, how do we do this? What do we do?
Right.
I want to see like a version arise of the competitive Catherine scene, but for Baba.
God, because
Oh my
isn't
There's
god.
people doing Baba races.
isn't there like a level
Yeah.
editor too?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, like there you go. Like Baba Maker is like the #1 thing you can do.
Co-op Baba.
I think as a testament to just like how good the game is, you can access the quote-unquote ending level very early on. It's
Right.
like in the first world
And-
is the level that like makes the credits roll. And
it's-
the first time you get there, like you look at it and your eyes just fucking glaze
I-
over because there's so much shit on the screen and you have no idea what you're looking at. You're like, oh fuck, I'll come back to this later. And then when you come back to it, you're like, oh, this is some easy fucking baby shit, and you just go do it.
It's very reminiscent of I guess this one came later, but like very reminiscent of Impossible Lair, Ukulele and Impossible Lair, where the final
Oh, yeah.
level is at the start of the game, and all you're doing is beating levels to get shield points so that you can survive the level.
Yeah,
And
it's like that, except like instead of being an explicit game mechanic, it's just something you're doing to your brain.
You start feeling confident because like it's after like the first world in the game, like you beat the first handful of levels, and then you're like, oh, I get what this game wants me to do. I know
No.
like how these work. No,
No, you don't.
you don't even know what's coming.
You can. It is interesting because you can really. You can start the game and go through it and then open up and like, you know, look up like a later game puzzle, and without any of the context from the early game, it's just like I don't even know what I'm looking at. I don't know what half of these words are meant to do. Which is, like you said, a pretty good indicator of its quality. Is also that Baba, just to kind of like, you know, bring it around for the episode, is Baba is really good at teaching you how to play it.
Yeah,
Baba is one
without
of the best.
tutorializing you hardly at all.
I mean, really,
Like, I
the
think
game just
only
gets you
tutorial
started.
Yeah, I think the only tutorial you get is when you first like load up
Mm-hmm.
the intro level, and it's like, hey, here's how you fucking do it. You
Yeah.
can do shit.
Literally,
But, like,
it's
aside
just
from that, it doesn't give you any direction at all, and it's
Right.
still like really easy to find your way around and solve those puzzles once you understand the gist of what it wants from you.
It doesn't really do like say the Mega Man thing where it's like, okay, here's what this enemy does, and here's a platforming thing. Now we've put them together.
right.
It's just like, here's your new word. And then
and it gives you like a really simplified version of a puzzle to solve with that word. That's usually like, that's pretty much how every puzzle in Baba works. And that actually is something that the Witness does, to better or worser extent, depending on your opinion of the Witness. But the Witness does that too. It gives you like a really simplified version. The Witness is divided up into little hub puzzle areas on this island. And you find a new area on the island, and it gives you like an introductory puzzle. And you go like, okay, this is the puzzle that all the other puzzles in this area are based around. And Baba does that as well. It says like, here's a new word, and this is what it does. Now, and here's like a super simplified version of that puzzle. Now go and combine it with everything else you've learned. And by the end of it, you are looking at like that final puzzle and going like, oh, okay, I now know what all of this stuff does, and I now know how to intelligently combine it to make it work for me. And I think that's really cool.
And Saturn, you're
like an example that I like that I think exemplifies this pretty well is that there's a puzzle in the game where door is locked, key is open, but it's like you only have one key and you have two doors.
Yes.
And you're like, well, okay, I know if I move key over to door and it opens, that both the door and the key will be deleted. But I also know from this puzzle, if I say that something has something else, that means that when it's deleted, it will drop it. And then I can arrange these to say that key has key so that it will unlock the door and then drop another key so I can unlock the second one.
Yes.
And it's like all shit like that.
God.
It's so good.
What was it? There's one puzzle where there's like a line of, I think it's called like Patrol. There's like a line of skulls that are moving back and forth. And the idea
inside
is,
like a little maze.
Yeah, and the idea is to like sink them.
Yeah.
And so you create like water is water, and you just like move and watch this line of skulls vanish.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, I think it's really clever. I mean, that's really what the whole game boils down to, is that it's just an incredibly smartly designed, very clever video game that is on Steam sale right now.
Like the thing I wonder about this too is that like kind of like when cause the puzzles that I had to look up the answer to, I wonder how many of these actually do have like multiple solutions that aren't just like, the variant of like, oh, where you put the sentence or like what order you put the sentences is. Like,
right.
Are there different like routes you can take per level? Because like the wikis only have like one answer basically.
Right.
So I am curious to like, you get a really good puzzle design to me is when you don't know if you beat the puzzle or if you tricked the puzzle.
Yeah.
Like, did you feel like you outsmarted it, but did you?
Did you just kind of like flub your way through it?
Or is the puzzle like, yep, you got me?
Right.
Wink.
It's like solving a math problem with like, but using the equation wrong, but still somehow getting the right answer. That's what Baba Is You feels like sometimes. So,
Playing Baba Is You is like being a high schooler taking a too high level algebra course.
Yeah.
And not actually learning algebra, but figuring out the way to trick the teacher into thinking that you understand what you're writing.
The entire Baba Is You experience is when you have a problem that's like 17 or 14 minus 7, and you cross off the 1 and write a small 1 above the 4.
Oh, God.
That's the entire experience. And I loved every second of it.
I did. I love, even when this game is making me feel extremely stupid, I love every second of Baba Is You. And I think it is on Steam sale, like I was saying.
And I got really, really good at being like, nope, I'm not solving this puzzle.
Just looking at it going, nope.
My breaking point is I'd only play for like maybe 2 hours at a time, because I hit a point where I'm like, well, I can't do any of the puzzles here, so I'm going to put the game down for a day and then come back and without fail be able to solve one of these fucking things on the first try.
Oh, that's how it is with everything.
Yeah.
That's just how video games work, I think. I've had that interaction with fucking Resident Evil, where it's just like, I can't do this, I'm coming back in a week, and then in a week it's like, oh, that was easy, okay. So
also, Baba Is You is currently on Steam sale until January 2nd.
Nice!
It is $12 instead of the usual $15.
Extremely worth it.
also in a bundle with Crayon Physics Deluxe, The Swapper, Environmental Station Alpha, and Noita.
Oh, cool.
They're apparently all a bunch of games made by a bunch of friends or something like that.
Okay.
And you can get that in a bundle with those 4 other games for about $30.
That's
That's
really
actually
good.
pretty worth it, so, yeah.
Yeah. I just got, I think I got Genome Noita for Christmas, and he apparently loves it already. So
Oh, okay.
That's an interesting one where it's a 2D, roguelike kind of game, but
Okay.
it kind of has the gimmick of it is that every pixel has physics simulations.
Oh,
so
God.
it's kind of like that Dust Box game that you used to play on Flash when you were younger.
Yes.
Oh.
It's like that, but it's a fucking Dead Cells shit.
Okay.
Basically.
Oh, boy. I might have to check that out.
Okay, well, I think this has fortunately this is like the shortest episode Saturn's ever been on. I'm proud. Usually
I'm
it's
sure
like 8 hours.
I'm sure when we come back for disco, I will.
Oh, God.
We will return back to the usual formula of me being one of these things for a million hours.
The disco one will be interesting because the three of us will be like, remember that scene? No.
No.
What are you talking about? That's not how
Yeah.
that happened.
Disco one will be interesting because we'll basically not actually talk about the game. We'll just be like, you should go play disco.
It'll just be 8 hours of us going, no, you should really, really go play disco. I feel like, cause see, I already want to start spewing about how much I love disco.
Did you already finish it?
No, I'm not even close. I've got 3 hours into it because I had to play Baba.
Fucker. Not do it.
I know. I'm getting on. That's what I'm doing this weekend. Is just playing
Baba is disco.
Baba is disco. And then you plug that in, and Baba just starts like flashing like a disco ball, like a mirror ball.
Yeah.
It's just like lights, and he's just spinning in circles like the
Baba
annoying
gets
dog.
very drunk and develops amnesia.
You could easily replace the annoying dog in Undertale with Baba. That's the same little white creature. So
Saturn, you just made me think of like a gimmick where it's like Baba is drunk, where the level starts wobbling, and you can like use that to sneak past barriers.
Oh man, that'd be cute. Oh.
Baba is drunk, just makes rules randomly stop working.
All right.
I think
gonna
that's
call
about
it
it.
here.
Yeah, go play Baba as you. It's a really fun puzzle game. Everyone will enjoy it. Get it for your family if they have a Switch. Get your parents to play the game and like watch them try to wrap their brains around it.
Snap your
This
Switch
is one
over
of the
their
few
knee.
games that came out this year that I can genuinely say is like a recommendation for any possible person who has any amount of interest in playing video games of any genre.
Right, yeah. It's easy
Like,
to
this
just
is
tell
the,
anybody to play it.
It was not nominated at the VGAs for Family Game of the Year, but it should have been.
Right.
I agree.
Well,
After-
they gotta nominate the same Mario games over and over
They have to
again.
nominate every Mario game that ever came out.
Because those are
And
the
not
only
all
kind of
those came
family
out.
video games that exist, Saturn, don't you know? The VGAs are, they know what quality is. That's why Sekiro got Game of the Year.
What?
Well, I can't knock them too bad because Disco did win for
Well,
It did,
Disco
yeah. Yeah.
Disco did beat Death Stranding's ass, which rules. So, yeah. All right, people,
All right.
we're done. Otherwise, it's just going to devolve into me and Saturn talking about Disco.
All right, so that'll do it for us. Thank you, Broke Free Piece for background music. You can follow me on Twitter at thegorgepodcast. You can follow Sara at radioinactivity, and you can listen to Sara and Saturn talk about stuff in their other podcasts, which Sara will tell you about right now.
It does not have anything to do with puzzles because Saturn does actually understand that nobody wants to hear puzzles in a podcast, live play RPG. So, yeah.
Much love for our competitor actual play podcast you tried, but man, that is a bad audience experience. Because I promise you, your audience has already solved the puzzle, even if it takes your players 3 episodes.
It's
Rip to friends at the table, but I'm different.
Rip to the adventure zone.
Oh, yeah.
Different.
Yeah. So I guess I should tell you what that podcast is. Hey, Saturn and I are in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds, where the two of us and some other cool queer friends get together and we play tabletop games. We try out lots of different systems. We have a lot of fun. Right now we're topical. Saturn and I aren't in this one, but we're being topical, and Jonix is running Star Wars. So you should come check
It's
us out.
probably better than that movie it just came out. I don't know.
Oh, it's not hard, but Jonix is an extremely good GM, so it probably is phenomenal. Yeah. You should come check us out at Big Gay Nerds on SoundCloud. You can find the links to the rest of our social media from there. Saturn, do you want to plug your Twitter real fast?
Yeah, I'm at Celestial Mecha on Twitter. You can find me shitposting there. I haven't been on Big Gay Nerds lately because I've been finishing grad school, but I finished grad school.
Mazel tov! I'm so proud.
Yay!
I will probably be back doing that stuff more regularly again because it's really fun to podcast.
It is
turns
fun.
out.
It is
It's
fun.
nice to have people to talk to. Everybody needs
I like
one.
forcing people to hear my voice in an awful recorded medium.
It's okay. That's what we do not every single week, but almost every
Most
single
weeks.
week.
Yeah.
Most weeks. We're pretty consistent. So, yeah, that'll do it for us. Fuck is move puzzles?
Yeah, fuck his move puzzles.
They're bad.
Fuck is move is actually my favorite is phrase.
Baba is fuck? No.
Baba is friend.
Baba is friend.
Baba is good. Podcast is over.
All right.
Good night,
Good
everyone.
night, everyone.
I'm gonna recording is stopped.